Hello, this is Britjet's PSX Tips, the Aerowinks PSX 747 desktop simulation, and today a little bit of fun. We're going to fly approaches into Hong Kong Old Airport, Kai Tak. So I'm going to just invent a procedure that's going to get you onto the runway at Kai Tak. Now, of course, Kai Tak's not in the database now. You're going to need some sort of scenery add-on. I highly recommend the Fly Tampa scenery, very, very good indeed. And this picture, incidentally, is not Fly Tampa, it's actually me, quite a number of years ago, as you can tell from the aircraft. And a strange colour scheme, I must admit. I think that was something to do with traffic rights to Taiwan or something. But you can see the checkerboard behind the aircraft as well, and we'll be using that on the approach, of course. To set this up for Kai Tak, I recommend you fly an approach to 07 at the new airport, Victor Hotel, Hotel, Hotel. Fly the ILS for 07 left in LOC and VS so that you can easily get off the ILS and climb back up. Halfway down the approach, about 1,000 feet or so, climb back up to 2,500 feet using flight level change and heading cell, and just turn slightly left to intercept the inbound course to the IGS. Now, to set the IGS course up, don't use the FMC legs page, it gets very complicated. Just use the fix page, as I've got set up here. The Romeo Whiskey NDB is at the threshold end of runway 13. The course to the IGS is 088. So if we set in 268, we'll have a line back along the IGS. And the idea is to fly slightly north of the Romeo Whiskey course, which will bring us into the checkerboard. Put a fix of 8 miles there so that you can start your descent at 8 miles from 2,500 feet. I've also put in 130 degrees as a guide to give us a direction for the runway itself. NDBs, well, the Romeo Whiskey is tuned, and the other one, TP, is Tatong Point, which is at the other end of the airfield, but isn't really a factor for our approach. Before you do the approach, I suggest you hit terrain override, otherwise you'll get some strange things going on as you get close to the terrain, of course. And all we're going to do is fly the approach down in basic modes, heading and VS, just to the north side of that little fix line. So I'll let it run so that we can get established on the approach. Just starting the descent now, then 800 to 900 feet a minute as we come to 8 miles. Flap 30 for the landing, by the way, it makes the final turn a lot easier. And just settle it down so that the altitude prediction green arc is over the Romeo Whiskey there. And if you've got yourself at the right height, you should find that you're doing a 3-degree descent on your flight path vector, 800 feet a minute. Bottom hat for flap 30 and the arc exactly where you want it. So that's how we want it to look as for the approach. The next bit will be the visual segment. Okay, here we are on short final approach now then, and stabilized in a 3-degree approach with the flight path vector giving us 3 degrees, and as a backup the altitude arc over the Romeo Whiskey as best we can. And at this stage would be an instrument approach until we get down to the visual segment, which will be sighting the lead-in lights. MDA is about 710 feet. Now the checkerboard is slightly left of centre, and the lead-in lights you'll see shortly in a small area of trees ahead of us. Now at the head of the lead-in lights there is a horizontal bar of lights which is quite difficult to pick out. We want to cross that at 500 radio.
50 above.
So as we approach our minima visual, there's the checkerboard slightly left. You can see the lead-in lights and the horizontal bar. Height is looking good. You'll notice everything's out, autopilot, autothrottle, everything's out, just hand flying the aircraft. As we come over that horizontal bar, progressively roll into 15 degrees of bank for still air, just hold that, and as you make the turn, keep the leading lights in the same place in the window. Watching your rate of descent as you go round, And as we come out, check the PAPIs, adjust pitch as necessary. I've come slightly inside the turn here, but that's much better than being outside, which would have large amounts of bank. And as you roll out, just watch you don't go high.
100.
The rest of it is just a normal landing.
50. 30. 20. 10.
And that, as they say, is all there is to that. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a few goes at that. I won't pretend I got it right first time. It's a lot of fun to practice, though. And just for once, I don't have to say, don't try this on the real aircraft, because, of course, Kitec's not actually there anymore. So enjoy, and thanks for watching the video.